Hello, everybody. Today I have the pleasure to propose to you this key 79 entitled Spiritual Ego. Well, this is the first chapter, second video, but first chapter. Officially, we're gonna try to clarify and also to understand the reason for being the purpose of ego, and then the link with spiritual ego. Here we go. Well, many think and many see the evil within ego. Okay, like it is to banish, it is the devil, and so on. But actually, without ego, we are statues or we are plants. Okay, nature. Other, let's say, other school, other option. Some people, let's say, devote a cult of personality. With Instagram nowadays, with stories, they put all the life through Facebook for YouTube, the influencer and so on. And it's really what I call selfish. Okay, selfie. I take selfie of myself always, and I'm quite selfish because I'm just focusing by giving the illusion that my life is wonderful. I see my super villa in Dubai and see how I eat nicely with my smoothie and how I'm happy with my swimming pool and so on, with and so on so far. But it's just show off. Is hashtag I love myself is only show off, knowing that most of the case, this is completely fake. This is just an illusion. Okay. In a movie, okay, you say, stop, we cut. And then, it's exactly the same. People are smiling all the time. And actually it's creates so. It's reinforced frustration of a lot of people. This is a big problem of the society. Imagine that 30 to 40% of the young people declare to be unhappy because of Instagram, because they're comparing. They say, oh, everybody has a wonderful life and so on. Go to see the stars, the star system. Most of them, a lot of people would like to be a part of it, to be one of them. And in parallel of that, when you analyze a bit, a majority of them, they are neurotic. They have everything, but they don't have anything because they feel empty. Okay. And actually, this is quite incredible because all this is the fruit of the construction of this society, modern society based on, let's say, consumerism, society of images, okay? And also the navel gazing and individualism, navel gazing society. When I say that, I'm not against Western mentality, I'm part of it, but it's just a matter of fact. Do a survey around you. Ask them basically, are you happy? You will see with a percentage. I created in 2017 in a prestigious business school, which is belonging to France, but it was in China. And actually, we created an association of happiness. And I did a lot of survey with this young generation, let's say my generation, intermediary, and even old people. They don't feel, they feel incomplete. This is Elif Shafak, the great writer. I love it. She's French, Turkish or Turkish French. She said the following, if my memory is correct: no matter who you are, where you live, deep inside, we all feel incomplete. It's like if we had lost something and experiencing the need to find it back. What is this something? This is what I'm trying to bring to this path, to find it, this something missing, the missing link. I know missing link is another story, but this is the something. What is this something? Think about it. Well, in between both, let's say ego is devil or evil, and ego is a cult. Okay, hashtag I love myself. Maybe there is the middle way, middle path in between. The middle way is from China. It's from Taoism, let's say, and actually it's to remove the duality. It's not black or white. There is a rainbow. Okay, there is a range of different potential. Okay, so actually, this is a bad master, but it is a good servant. Okay, if it's not capricious master, but if it's a benevolent servant, it's like a vehicle, a car. Nobody is sleeping in their car except poor people and so on. Normally we don't live in a car. Okay, Normally, we don't sacralize, iconize, or deify, worse, our car. Maybe some people, but it's a minority. You understand my point? A vehicle, a car, is supposed to bring you from one point A to a point B. That's it. It is just a tool. A ego is a tool. So nothing to blame at it. It's just a tool. A tool is a tool. It's not supposed to be your master. You're not. So the goal, I think, it's a fake debate between both schools. I told you, middle way is just the goal is not to eradicate it, but to manage it, basically. And for this, we need to understand it and to use it or to tune it or to modify or to change. We can afford also to change. You know, I like to say the ego is a simple construction game like child's play when well behaved like a good servant. However, it proves to be an complicated demolition game like the tantrum of a spoiled kid when it becomes the master. I think you will understand this is linked also to education, and this is up to us to educate our ego. Once again, are you the fruit of the thoughts of other people? You are being shaped by the thought of people, by acceptance, rejection, and or tuning, and or you shape yourself. So this is a question. Your ego is fruit of passivity or active way, and you build it. Up to us, and there is it's never too late. No, too late to apologize. Just a joke. Well, the ego could be defined like the little voice. You know, the little voice saying you cannot do it, okay, or you're good for nothing, okay. So it would be like a complex of inferiority. Second option, you're much better than them, okay, or you're the best, or they suck, they're stupid, okay. So complex of superiority, okay, and or they are all bad. Calimero effect. Okay, what is this? Life is what we have taught. Life is a struggle. Life, other people, their threat, their potential feast. Okay, punch and so on. Okay, and also the original thing, baraka for Muslim and most of tradition. Other people are not a fist, hand, a help potential, not competition, blind competition, but also, let's say, open and mutual collaboration as well. Okay, so it's up to us also to adhere and also to have the philosophy that we want. Okay, this is a part of the old book Sage Passage Utopia that you can download from my website for free, by the way. I translated and edited by a professional one. So I pay $500 for that. So please, at least read it. It's for free once again. And it's explaining well this, and this is depicting a utopia, a new civilization in the future, like the 5D, okay, like Christ dimension and so on. And it's really a kind of organization, social dimension, and so on. I really invite you to take a look. So in the extremes, let's say that the ego lowers us and lowers other people. Okay, so putting the responsibility on other people, because it's always easier to disempower. Okay, to disempowerment, like it is not my fault, is my parents, is my culture, is my the minority. This is due to the government, the politics, the deep state, and so on. The demons, the egregores, and so on. Blah blah blah. We all know the story. You neighbors and so on. It's never your fault. It's the fault of other people. This is a projection, and it's always easier to say it's not my fault. It's not responsibility. I'm not responsible. Okay, but if we are not responsible, it means we are plants, we are just pacing. And we can afford it. Be the change that you want to see in the world is Gandhi. So this is extremely important. Okay, this is a maturity of spirituality and in general. The fact that no, we are not only enslaved. We have also the possibility, there are extreme cases, we do agree. Yeah, but globally speaking, it's up to us. Okay, it asks investment, time, self-discipline, and so on. It's a matter of fact, but no pain, no gain. Okay, word-wise. So there is a balance between superiority complex and inferiority complex. Okay, but there are also reasonable egos. Okay, the problem always is the duality. This is black or white. There is not always extremes. Okay, there is not necessarily some shortcut, some generality. Everything. Everybody is case by case. We are supposed to be unique. Okay, unique. 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 We are all unique by our genes. Nobody is exactly copy paste. We can have some similarities. Everybody is unique. So unique people, unique situation, unique recipe. So once again, there is no miracle recipe. Miracle recipe or remedy. There is miracle adaptation, basic. Okay. So saying that we can think, for example, when I say reasonable egos, it's like, for example, when you're happy with your life, basically. You think, you consider you have succeeded partially, or you succeeded. It's not bad to say that. I know it's really Latin people in France, in Italy, in Spain or Portugal. If you say, "Oh, I'm successful," instead they don't have this kind of people. You don't have in Canada as well. Australia, it's not a big deal, but I don't know why people are ashamed in Latin countries. I know why. Probably the power of, let's say, the gossip and also the religion loads during many decades with Inquisition and so on. The fact that you cannot afford to be happy. It's like a sin to be happy. For me, it doesn't make sense. You can be just grateful for what you have, for what you developed within your life, because it's a gift. It's a gift. If you are a believer, it's a gift from God, from believing the absolute. So not recognizing, for me, it's not to be grateful, basically. So it's like I do some food for you. I spend all day long. I take care of you. And then you don't say anything. You don't say thank you. You don't give a shit. But it's not respectful. It's the same thing. So there is a between. So some egos, they know the defaults, they know their weaknesses and their forces, and they can just improve themselves. They can continue keeping on having a self, let's say, analysis. This is part of the game. That's it. So I think it's really important to think on this way, because at the other extreme, some people are always complaining, "Oh, I'm ugly. Look at I'm fat," or "I'm stupid," and so on. I don't know. They're always complaining. Okay, especially I told you in France, by saying that I'm complaining as well. So, but this is almost our national game. Why we're always striking. There is a French writer saying France is a paradise in which people think they are in hell. As a matter of fact, free education, free health system, excellent food, landscape, and so on. Actually, this is. But anyway, they are not conscious about that. When they go outside, sometimes they come back. They can say, "Okay, finally, it's not that bad." Okay, so but the fact to always complaining is actually affecting our vibration and is not respectful of what we have, basically. Well, to be confident, and I spent quite a lot of time in the key 50 for that. I invite you to watch it, because there are lots of advice for this and tips for being more self-confident. We are born self-confident, or can be both. We become self-confident because we work on it, or we are self-confident thanks to, let's say, the eyes of other people. Our environment, our partners, our friends, our parents. This is super important. But to be confident, self-confident, doesn't mean that you're arrogant. It means that you manage. You know your faults, your defaults, your weaknesses, but you know your forces as well. And we can feel someone confidence. Okay, I'm not talking about the show of ego and so on, and we think he's strong, and when you do that, it's not this. The ego, the reason for being, the raison d'être, the purpose, the reason for being of the ego is essentially to survive the differentiation. But differentiation doesn't mean it's bad. When you launch a company, you have a project, a society, or when you do an interview, most of the time, why should I choose you instead of him? Okay, what's your differentiation? What do you bring differently? So differentiation is not necessarily bad, but the danger is to exclude yourself from the rest of people. Okay, so but anyway, the main reason being of ego is to be out of the unity, the mass, okay, the wall. All right. So the completeness, the unity, the salvation, peace, and so on. But actually, the differentiation with unity and the segmentation. I said, and I say, and I will say many times, essential thing, etymologically speaking, and is not senseless, not meaningless. Existing, to exist, existence comes from Latin, and it means to separate, to fragment. Okay, we are incarnated at first, okay, part of the big wall, and we separate it to exist, to incarnate. Carne in Latin means meat, okay, to become individual, duality. So it's not bad. It's like when you're the painting, the painter, and the landscape, and the characters, the actor. How do you see yourself? You step backwards to take a certain distance to admire the masterpiece. When you put all together the different pieces, you can admire the masterpiece. Who is the great creator? We are just a little alveolus of the cosmic lung, the cosmic pulse, if you can catch what I'm trying to say. But when I say it's not bad, a differentiation, imagine, as a single man, I mean, if I have a family, I'm the mother, I'm the father, I'm my wife, I'm my kids, and so on, but I can think globally. I think for my family, I want to preserve them, I want to give them food, and so on and so forth. So I think globally, right? But then individually, I also need my time to relax, to do my personal things with my friends and so on, my activity, my leisure, and so on. And also my education maybe is different from my wife. Okay, it doesn't mean it's bad or it's good. Actually, it's maybe a complementary. Okay, it's a complementarity. Sorry. Well, I like to say, if you can afford, ego means age God out. Age God out. Okay, so we come back to this notion of separation. If you're part, you're the painter, painting, and the landscape and the different characters, how do you see it yourself? You cannot. So God needed us to separate himself, to experience himself through us. And we try to experience himself, oneself, through us, and vice versa. That's why, listen to this one. It is quite deep, okay? It's in between both ego and God, okay? Because actually, we spent a video only for that, exclusively for that. For video, it's 70, the key 70, regarding God, okay? Great overall dimensions. Okay, so I invite you to watch it if you want to deepen. But there is no God but God. This is what la 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 la, what the Muslims say. But it's exactly the same than the X boson, the diving pixel. Okay, and when the definition for Judaism and Moise, when God expressed apparently to him, he say, I am the living. Okay, I am the living. That's it. So literally, the living, I love this metaphor because it means it's everything. It's within the tree, within the mountain. This is kind of shamanic way, but it's natural way. Okay. So anyway, just to tell you, listen to this, try to pay attention. When I am you, capital letter, when I am you are no longer, and when you are, I am no longer. In a game that no longer has a I, the famous I am can then take its place. Thus, life becomes much more playful and even more exciting and transcendental when one perceives it as such. So, this is kind of you take the lead, I take the lead, and so on. Invite you to think about it. You can listen it back. Okay, so what's the difference now between ego, basic ego, materialistic ego, and spiritual ego? But this is a good question. Frankly speaking, it would mean that there is material ego and spiritual ego. So you separate both. So, but I think literally, so the separation would be contrary of our nature. What do I mean? Consciousness, unconsciousness, soul, okay, a triptych, okay, fine, why not? And then the consciousness, okay, with a capital letter. But I think is a trap to think like this. It's a trap of our society always not trying. I'm not saying there is a wish beyond that, but it's kind of, the new cults of the materiality is a trap in that way, the fact to separate the materiality and the spiritual. And this is a big, I think this is missing deeply, existentially speaking, in our new society. So spiritual literally means spirit, okay? So everything is spiritual. Look this, check this. You observe a building. The building is physical, is tangible, okay, fine. At first, it starts from before the construction, the basement, the foundation, and so on. But okay, fine, okay. But before that, at first stage, you have a spark, inspiration, okay? The architect, okay, metaphor of the architect of the word, but the architect has a spark, an intuition. So it downloads some ideas that it put on the matter, okay, by writing, drawing some plans and so on. And then thanks to that, there is an evolution within the density, within the matter. But at least at first, everything is spiritual. It's everything. Nothing is tangible initially. All comes from the spirits. So thereby, everything is spiritual. All materialistic things has been thought before, and a thought is not tangible. You cannot weight. You cannot weight thoughts. You cannot weight consciousness. What is consciousness? Nobody can afford to define it practically, scientifically speaking. If you are, my father is a great scientist in artificial science. Actually, in France, you cannot pronounce this word. Consciousness is a taboo, like soul is a taboo. And if you do so, you're out. I mean, you are perceived like the crazy guy and so on. So, because we cannot define what is it. So a thought is not tangible. It's a data, but it's not visible. It's like energy, it's frequency, okay, and vibration. If you want to find the secret of the word, think in terms of frequencies, energy, and vibration. Nikola Tesla. Well, let's continue. So I consider everything is spiritual. So, by the way, when you see an event and so on, you have apparently two options: to navigate, your life basically by sight, okay, day by day, 1 meter by 1 meter, okay, and or the car or autopilot, okay, without touching anything, Tesla cars and so on. My father was starting to work on it in 80s. Imagine, it's quite long time. So this is two schools, extreme school. And then you have a third way, maybe, which is within a GPS. You manage, you drive, but you use also the GPS. The GPS is a metaphor. The GPS means that you refer to the spirituality, the invisible world. I give you to navigate at sight means, let's say, I manage my life. Okay, I manage my life. I do everything I want. Okay, It's like the kids saying, they are just teenagers, 10 years old, and just they say, oh, I will get married when I will be 20. I will have 3 kids. The first one will be a daughter when I will be 21, 22, a boy. And so, calm down. First, you didn't meet anybody. And do you think it's like this? You predictable? You can book like this in advance? No way. Okay, so yes. Caricature, of course, but those who think, oh, I manage my life and so on, a lot of people like this. But okay, this is really the Western archetype, okay, unbelieving in anything. But okay, fine, this way. And at the other extreme, if God wants, okay, inshallah, and so on, and you just refer to that by provocation, okay, but I want to get a job. Okay, but I don't send any CV resumes, inshallah. Okay, but do you think you can get a job if you don't apply anywhere? Do you think you can meet a woman or a man if you just stay in your bed or a house without even on the website? I don't know. No way. It will not happen by miracle. Not someone will knock on your door and say, "Can you marry me?" You understand my point. I mean, this is by provocation, but I think there is a middle way. And the middle way is I tried everything. Now I put in the God's hands, in my destiny, in my maktub, whatever you call it. Okay. And by the way, it's really in the, if the literature is, it's a part of the 4 pillars of the 4 agreements. Practical Guide to Personal Freedom is from a Toltec Wisdom book, from Don Michael Ruiz. It's quite famous. I invite you to read it. It's really short. You read it in 3 hours. But anyway, one of that is this. Try your best. That's it. You did everything you wanted. Okay, no need necessity to push too much. Then I did my job. That's it. Okay, so, I invite you also to watch the video 43. Regarding destiny and free will, okay? Probably it will make you think differently. Sin originally in Aramaic, sin, and then in Hebrew, so the Bible language, sin, the original sin, means miss, target. And also, second school, is to go against the current. Current of what? The current of the life. Of the living. You understand the point? So it's the fact to be always against something. Sham et Tabrizi, a great Sufi, said the following: don't try to resist to the changes that are imposed on you. On the contrary, let life continue within you. And don't worry about your life being turned upside down. How do you know that the meaning you are used is used to is better than the other one to come? Okay, it means that, okay, don't be afraid to have turbulence, to be upside down. How do you know if this is a correct position? Maybe the down will be reversed, but you will prefer like this. It's like the metaphor of the angry athletes for the Olympic Games in the past in Greece. And he wants to participate to Olympic Games, and unfortunately, he is injured. His leg. Okay, so it's super fed up. He's disgusting. Gods, why, and so on. And then suddenly the war happened, and thanks to that, he's not mobilized to go to the fight, and is the only survivor of his village. Think about that. I give you a personal. Maybe I share, but I've been kicked out. We came here in Turkey for having a baby 4 months now. And we have been blocked for 2 years because of administration problems, paper and so on. Our baby only had paper. He became real for civility after 1 year. And he became French after 2 years. We have been obliged to be in a horrible labyrinth, administrative labyrinth, to have our rights and to go to court and so on. It has been disaster and so on. And at the beginning, I swear to you, I was upset. I was saying, what the, I wanted to come back to Bali and so on. And then one moment, after, and I've been kicked out of Turkey 4 months, going to jail 3 days because of administration problems, violent, insulted, and so on. And then out of Turkey, my wife couldn't go outside, and so on. Nightmare. Okay, it was in February when I do the Dark Night of the Soul, the video 65, I think. Watch it. I am completely in this. Okay, so everything has been destroyed. I wanted to go back to go back home to Bali and so on. And you know what? We could have left now for a few months, and we decided to stay 6 months. We bought wonderful apartments. We built with my stepmother a villa here. I love this place. I really feel myself living here in the future, probably decades. But if so, I started to one day I say, okay, stop being against the current. Try to acceptance. Then I appreciate food. I appreciate life. I started to learn hardly Turkish. Now I speak Turkish properly. I mean, not fluently, but I can manage. And frankly speaking, this is really a metaphor that I try to tell you. Don't reject anything. Let's life, the living, go through you, cross you, express itself through you. This is enthusiasm. Enthusiasm in Greek, it means literally crossed by God or by divine or divinity. Well, you know, it's like floating. Floating, if you are stressed, you soak. If you are relaxed and your load is spread homogeneously, it's the same for life. You know, I have a personal example. It was here. 20 kilometers, I see the mountain just in France. 2,000 meters. I did paragliding. It was for Christmas 2022. I was alone for doing it. It was a nightmare, guys. I was not prepared for that. And actually, the journey was 45 minutes before. It was 25 minutes waiting, the wind, and so on. I swear to you, I was not a hero at all. By the way, first we fall down, so I was stressed and so on, and then the guy was like this, and well, anyway, a lot of problems. And then okay, we flied, but the first 30 seconds, I was in paradise. Oh my God, we fly. I was in the unity. I was the word. I was so close to divinity and so on. And then suddenly we started to be like this. So I really afraid. I was afraid to that's yeah, the paragliding completely collapsed, and then we fall down and it's finished. Over, game over. Play again. But anyway, losing my son, my family, and so on. All this beautiful life now. And actually, I was in between, oscillating in between ego, and then let it go. Let it go to God's hands. Okay, God's hands. What? Wow, it's amazing. It was like orgasm, frankly speaking. And then completely stressed, ego. And that, you know, it's when you are cold and you are doing, oh, it's very cold. You are colder than when you do. It's the same principle. Well, I just let you think about that and reflect. Next video, we will see the obstacles and limits that ego can manipulate you. And then we will see chapter 3, how some techniques to be in with an harmonious spiritual ego. Thank you for your attention. Actually, I hope it will help you to shape your master key, to open up the door of consciousness, of love, or whatever you want. As you know, all the roads lead to Rome and to the dawn. Thank you for your attention, and see you very soon.